Hi everyone! The Finding My Perfect Main series has come to an end, which means that I have made a choice in which class is going to be my perfect main. We've looked at a lot of classes during the series, and by doing so I hope it helped some of you guys out in the search of finding your perfect main. Let's get into the video. Every expansion, my process in finding my perfect main is nothing really mind-blowing. First, I decide which role I would like to play during raids. In BFA, I'm going to fill a damaging role. Secondly, because I'm a semi-hardcore player with a competitive mindset, I always need a class with at least 2 damaging specs. The reason is very simple: should a certain spec get nerfed, I can switch over to the other one. And last but not least, I narrowed my search down to 3 classes I enjoy the most. Following this process brought me to these 3 different classes: Warrior, Warlock, and Druid. Okay, so the Warrior. Damn, from the moment I picked up arms during the beta, I enjoyed it a lot. The gameplay was a bit slower, but they did some good changes with, for example, making sweeping strikes and overpowered baseline again. This resulted in very satisfying gameplay. I never had the feeling that this spec was too gear dependent and you could go in full force. A spec that is going to be very solid in almost any situation. I played arms for a number of expansions, but still my favorite arms version is, with no contest, the Mist of Pandaria one. The BFA arms warrior is best compared to the WoD version, where I also raided with the warrior both as arms and fury. Which brings us to fury. Man oh man, Blizzard had a really hard time with figuring this one out, and personally I think they're not quite sure yet if they should still make some minor changes or leave the spec in its current state. I played it a lot during beta and during live as well. The gameplay is insanely fast and hands down one of the fastest in the game today. During the live version, I did get the feeling it only worked when your character was fully optimized with, for example, the right legendaries. This made me doubt about the playstyle a little bit. Don't get me wrong, you feel like an absolute beast who's about to get a seizure because the gameplay is so fast, but that brutal force didn't really reflect in solid numbers, which for me spoils the experience a tiny little bit. Of course, I don't mean that their damage should be through the roof and that they should be top of the damage meter all the freaking time, but it does feel like you're putting in an insane amount of effort, which doesn't necessarily make you get that hell yeah feeling. I also think that they are way too mobile, and therefore I'm pretty sure Blizzard will still nerf the mobility skills in the near future. So my final thoughts about the Warrior. I've had some great moments and experience with the Warrior, definitely among one of the classes where I have at least more than a year of playtime on. No lie for sure. Arms is great, it really is, but Fury kind of feels lackluster. I can't put my finger on it. Yes, I know Fury becomes better and better once we get further and further into the expansion. However, the feeling of being an absolute beast and not seeing your effort being rewarded did put me off. I'm sorry guys, but Warrior is not going to be my perfect main. Also keep in mind that I have to finger blast my girlfriend on a regular basis, and that's going to be very hard when my fingers are sore from raiding as a Fury Warrior for 3 hours straight. On to our next candidate, the Druid. Wow, Boomy was such a pleasant experience. I always had a hard time with the Druid's class fantasy before, but when I started testing the Boom King in the beta, I was pleasantly surprised by its ability to overcome almost any obstacle. In my opinion, a spec that is going to compete for the top spot in Mythic Plus. Maybe that's the reason why Blizzard didn't give Mark of the Wild back to Druids. On the other hand, I tested out Feral for a lot of hours after I released the Finding My Perfect Main Druid video. I tried and I tried, but I just couldn't get into Feral. Like I said, the Druid's class fantasy is something I have a really hard time with. Moonkin is amazing, it really is, but I just need that second damaging spec that really has to appeal to me. I'm sorry guys, I know a lot of you wanted me to main Druid, but I'm not feeling it. No funny finger blasting jokes on this one. Last but not least, the Warlock. Yes, I know what you're all thinking right now. Freaking pleb, I knew it all along, he's going to choose the freaking cookie cutter class. Because it's new and fresh, and for the most part you guys are right, I'm a sucker for new things. I always have been. Like I said in the Warlock video, it's new, but it's also a lot of fun. And I like at least 2 of the specs the Warlock has to offer, Destruction and Demonology. Affliction is okay I guess, but it's not the reason why I'm choosing Warlock as a main. I think Destruction spec speaks for itself. Most of you know my opinion about this. It feels like Destruction has taken over the role of the Fire Mage. It's hard to explain this to you guys, but personally I feel like Destruction feels like a better fire version. Of course, some of you might not agree with me on this one, but that's fine. Demonology was and is a breath of fresh air. You either like it or you don't, and guess what? I'm a really big fan of its playstyle. Although a lot of people stepped down from making Warlock their main once they got their hands on the class in patch 8.0, but my feelings haven't changed. I raided hardcore with the Warlock all the way back in Burning Crusade, and it's time to go back to my roots, with the same class that looks nothing like the old version. So there you go guys, the Warlock will be my perfect main for the new expansion, Battle for Azeroth. And don't worry, I'm an officer in my guild, so the Warlock spot is guaranteed. Don't be sad though, Warrior and Druid will be one of my first alts that I will reach max level with. My goal is to make great content on each and every class once BFA does come out. And there you have it, Warlock is going to be my perfect main. Let me know in the comment section down below what class you guys picked as a main for the new expansion. Don't forget to check out my quick start guide series, I'm making one for each class and spec. Give this video a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more WoW content, hit the bell icon next to the subscriber button and join the notification squad. That's it, thank you so much for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.